we're housed in the U.S., so we're a U.S. company, but we are built to solve global problems, right? So we have customers in the U.S. and all different countries across Europe, Latin America, and the Asia Pacific region. So we are built to solve payment and payroll solutions, contractor payments. We've launched an employer of record solution. We're working on direct payroll. The entire premise of Rise at the moment has all accumulated to, we really get customers and use cases from both sides of the coin, from employers and employees or individuals. And so we might have a business that comes to us that says, hey, I do something crypto related as a business. So I might have Bitcoin or USDC in my treasury, and I want to be able to use those tokens, those treasury holdings to fund payroll. And so we accept that, and we'll take that to help run payroll on their behalf.
Accounting crypto means thousands of transactions, fluctuating prices, multiple wallets, exchanges, and bank accounts. One mistake means inaccurate reports, compliance risks, and wasted hours. QuickBooks simplifies it all. Seamlessly import transactions, automate categorization, and get real-time insights. Fast, accurate, stress-free. QuickBooks, your solution to the chaos.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of the Web3 Accountant Radio. Today we are very fortunate with us to have with us Bjorn, the head of finance at Rise. Hi Bjorn.
Yeah, Wei, thank you. Awesome, great to be here. Thanks for reaching out, and happy to join and share some of my own history and experiences and help promote the ecosystem. So yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you. So before we go further, I'm very excited about Rise, and on this channel and even myself itself, it's the first time I have heard of a payments and HR software. But I do know that even myself, I'm a Singapore company. We hire across Hong Kong, Australia, and yeah, having employees is an issue. So what are some of the hardest problems that Rise is solving? And yeah, can I hear it from you?
Yeah, of course. So first and foremost, Rise is an HR and payroll solution. We're housed in the US, so we're a US company, but we are built to solve global problems, right? So we have customers in the US and all different countries across Europe, Latin America, and the Asia Pacific region. So we are built to solve payment and payroll solutions, contractor payments. We've launched an employer of record solution. We're working on direct payroll. The entire premise of Rise at the moment has all accumulated to, we really get customers and use cases from both sides of the coin, from employers and employees or individuals. And so we might have a business that comes to us that says, hey, I do something crypto related as a business. So I might have Bitcoin or USDC in my treasury, and I want to be able to use those tokens, those treasury holdings to fund payroll. And so we accept that, and we'll take that to help run payroll on their behalf. On the flip side, we also have customers, individuals who, sorry, let me back up. We have customer companies who might be employing folks who themselves want to get paid in crypto or some hybrid. We can do 50% USDC and 50% fiat in whatever their local currency might be. So that is really the bread and butter of our use case, is to say, if you are an employee and you want flexibility and functionality, and if a company has enough folks who have needs and requirements like that, that we are able to serve those, and individuals can make those decisions completely independent of the other people that work for that company, completely independent of how the business funds their payroll, and it's just complete optionality, flexibility, and servicing right now, folks. We operate in 100 currencies, local fiat currencies across the world, different countries. We serve Singapore and all different countries in Asia. So yes, a super awesome use case, and we're seeing continued adoption. Obviously, there's lots of macro tailwinds helping us right now.
Yeah. So I mean, some of the things that I can think of the top of my head or I've met previously is, so you do help to settle the social security and in Singapore we call it CPF, or this kind of payments on behalf of the company.
Yeah.
Because this is one of the biggest issues that a DAO or a crypto entity would face.
Yeah, of course. So there's, I think, somewhere that a place in this ecosystem that gets commingled sometimes is there's an endless list of companies who are doing something payments related, just moving money from A to B. for a variety of use cases. In the US, we've also applied for our money transmitter licenses. We've got a handful of those and have applications in for all of them. So we are coming at this from a broader perspective to be a payments company, but we have built our own internal HR payroll engine that for the countries that we serve in this capacity, we are doing full payroll deductions, holdings, remittances to local governments. We don't have that today in every country we serve because we're going through this rollout phased approach, but that is our own we use third parties to help serve this and different and local payroll providers in lots of these countries, but we are a full payroll HR engine, which is super unique in this space to be able to do that for crypto businesses, to pay folks in crypto. And then the other piece of our product that gets lost sometimes, but is extremely unique, and we're the only platform on the market that is built like this, is that our entire tech product is actually built on chain. We are built on Arbitrum at the moment, so like all of our movements are ledgered on chain, auditable and reportable. So that piece of it is super unique for us and a fun piece of our tech product.
Nice. So, I mean, because we are all finance people, the other one is with such a cool software or online software, would the data be easily fetched into accounting subledgers, QuickBooks, Xero, NetSuite, or would we have to use certain subledgers of your choice?
Yeah, great question. So our own product, we have some accounting integrations built out, and we're adding to that. So if you're a user of our product today, you get access to any payments transactions you run through Rise. You can directly integrate to Xero, QuickBooks. We ourselves onboarded to Rillet, another ERP recently, so we're building out that integration as well. But our intent is to be, like any other B2B SaaS company who is doing something in finance, where we are a plug and play into ERPs and any other needs. So we do that on our own side, and then we have for our own product and internal tracking perspectives. And I'm passionate about this part. I think data is maybe the most focal point of all things crypto, especially from a finance perspective. So being able to navigate data and be fluent in your own data is so critical. And if you don't have good data or you don't know how to use it, you are going to get lost really quickly. So we have it's something that I emphasize internally continually, is that we need great data. We need to have a focus on data and educate folks around the business about why that's important, so that we can ingest data and run our own reports and track our own revenue, things like that.
The team is so lucky to have somebody like you with a finance head on the team itself to acknowledge the importance of this part of the business. Yeah, if not, the data would be like there. Yeah. Okay, so the other one is, I think there's a lot of hype going along stablecoins, or just recently Circle got listed, and at least in Singapore is creating a very big news. So do you have any comments on it, and what you're looking forward to?
Yeah, of course. Wow, yeah, stablecoins are hot right now, certainly. The Circle IPO has been brewing for some time. It was interesting to follow along in the lead up to that. There was I've worked with people who have come from Circle. I know some folks at Circle, at Rise. Actually, we have been part of the Circle Alliance program for some time, and we have an expanded partnership directly with Circle, which is super exciting for us. And so we're looking to build and maintain that relationship. So look for great things to come and continued announcements on that from us, which is great. But I think what's interesting about the Circle IPO itself, kind of in a vacuum, is, an IPO on the surface is a one-time event, right? It's this public moment, but Circle has been building this for nearly a decade or so, and there were rumblings about would they get acquired, or is it a good IPO market? Is it not a good IPO market? This is this awesome validation of stable coins and the whole market and the use case. But at the end of the day, this is just kind of a blip in the radar, right? It's one day, it's 1 month, and after the dust settles, everybody puts their heads down and keeps building. And I think what's cool about stable coins in particular is that they are continuing to solve real world problems. There's lots of, over time, there's been lots of speculative or retail energy around certain cases, but Circle and companies like Rise are actually, we're building to pay people's payroll and put money in their pockets to pay for food and shelter, right? That's part of our mission. So we are trying to be part of a productive part of that ecosystem and economics to help support people around the world.
Thank you. So, I mean, based on what you have just said, and maybe because you have deep experience in this area, is with the large amount of stable coins out there, I have even one stable coin itself, I have it across different chains. And
Yeah.
so from a finance perspective, do you have any advice on, which stable coin should a person choose, or like how do they handle this, like, multiple stable coins across multiple chains? Yeah.
Yeah, fair question. I think part of this answer is going to depend on regions and where you live. So for those of us in the United States, USDC by Circle really is kind of the standard. It is the expectation that that's where you're starting. It's the most regulated. It's the most publicly scrutinized, and just kind of from a compliance
So
standpoint.
when you
And
use USDC, you're referring to USDC on Ethereum.
yes, correct. As the starting point, USDC on Ethereum on mainnet. We, as I mentioned, our platform is built on Arbitrum. So as a business, we are on a daily basis interacting with USDC on Polygon or on Arbitrum as well. So our product operates right now across, I want to say maybe 5 or 6 different platforms, that chains, the few I mentioned, Avalanche, maybe several others, based on Coinbase. So we're continually looking to add new capabilities, but I think the cross chain pieces of this are getting easier and more flexible to navigate. Whereas once it was impossible nearly to jump across chains. Whatever you built on or whatever you received is kind of where you were stuck. There are fees along the way to jump across chains or to do swaps or bridging and whatnot. But at the end of the day, I think everybody who's building in crypto, I came from MoonPay before this, and their whole mission is to make on-ramping easier and seamless and make it an experience that folks feel like is a familiar banking or just an experience you can do on your phone that you could walk across the street to your neighbor and they would understand, right? It's opening the door to more people and more usability. So I think that's where things are headed. So yeah, I think USDC is the starting point. Tether USDT gets lots of attention globally. It doesn't fall into the same compliance lanes in every conversation that USDC falls into. And I think what's interesting also is that again, in my last job I went through a full iteration of financial disclosures for ASU 2023-08, which came out to address crypto accounting and how that has to be disclosed in financial reporting. And there's a very distinct and specific definition of a stable coin. So not everything that is to you or me, in casual conversation that might look like a dollar, like DAI or something else like that, might feel like a stable coin, but by regulations, not everybody truly tags it as a stable coin. So that's another kind of important nuance to this, depending on who you're talking to.
Thank you. I think the key difference might be the fiat reference stablecoin or a stablecoin that reference something else, but I think it goes deeper. But I think one good thing you have shared to many people who is listening, start with USDC, Ethereum, and then USDT maybe, and maybe choose according to which jurisdiction you are in. So before I close off this podcast, do you have one tip for Web3 finance leaders? So like something that you feel that if I turn back the clock 3 years ago and you have just started, maybe like what would you say to yourself, like?
Yeah, really good question. I hinted at it a minute ago, but I think I would go back to leaning on finance data. I mean, it's something that is so critical. If you don't have good data either internally or there's other third-party tools out there that will help you scrape the blockchain. If you have a certain set of wallets that you use, you might have a business that has 3 or 4 wallets, or you might have a business that has hundreds of thousands of wallets, and it gets overwhelming and impossible to maintain without the right internal buy-in around data. So I think being a champion for that is really critical. So I would lean on that. And then the other thing that I would say, kind of unrelated, is I've taken pride in my own journey and had fun with it. I came from a CPA background. I worked at Grant Thornton and Deloitte for some time, so went down the public accounting route, and then went into traditional payments, and now here I am at crypto and stablecoin payments for the last handful of years. And through all of that, I've made connections along the way. And the crypto, where I sit today, the crypto and Web3 blockchain finance and accounting world is actually quite small. There's a finite number of companies out there. So network, reach out to folks, be curious, and you'll stumble into something that keeps you interested or that finds an opportunity for you. So that's the other piece of it, is just be active on LinkedIn or other social channels, and just pay attention to what's going on in the ecosystem, and you'll set yourself up for success.
Thank you, Bjorn, for your kind words. And if you like the channel, please do like and subscribe. See you next time.